The Coast Guard is one of the 4 principal emergency services in Ireland, the others being on Garda Síochána, the National Ambulance Service and the local authorities' Fire and Rescue Service. Within each Coast Guard division, there are different search and rescue resources. The 4 S-92 search and rescue helicopters based at Dublin, Shannon, Waterford and Sligo. There's the Coast Guard Volunteer Coastal Units, which are capable of search, cliff and coastal rescue, and the lifeboats, provided by the RNLI, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution and the Community Inshore Rescue Organisations. Overall, there are 54 Coast Guard Volunteer Coastal Units across Ireland, with almost 1,000 volunteer members. The majority of the base stations are equipped with PPE, uniforms, radio communication systems, first aid equipment, response vehicles, search boats, cliff rescue gear, line throwing equipment, portable generators, lights and day and night search gear. Given the different capabilities, equipment and locations of the various base stations, the Irish Coast Guard Volunteer Coastal Units are categorised into one of 4 unit types: the Coastal Unit, Coastal Cliff Unit, Coastal Boat Unit and the Coastal Cliff Boat Unit. All units are operated totally by local crews who live within 10 minutes of their station houses and who give freely their valuable time and effort to the Coast Guard, local community and those in peril on the sea, cliff and coast of Ireland.
Obviously the main difference between this aircraft and our old aircraft, the S-61, is basically we have 5 screens. 2 are initiated now under battery power at the moment, and these are called MFDs, multi-flight displays. Yeah, she'll do about 140 knots, which is quite fast. For 61, the best you get out of it would be 100 to 110. A scramble call comes in, as Alan mentioned earlier, as a crew we'd plan it. We talk to the engineers, we either upload fuel or go with our standard fuel here at the base. And then the 2 pilots would strap in this captain seat, the co-pilot seat, and then we go through our normal emergency start checklist here.
What I'm putting on here is the life flight harness. It's both the winchman and the winch operator's harness that they would wear inside the aircraft. This particular piece of equipment here, the lanyard, then clips in at the back, right here, so that I'm now inside the aircraft, I'm secured. There's less danger of me falling out through the door. Additionally, if I detach that, I can then get my QRB. That connects on at the front, and that's how I hang out of the actual hook itself. And this would be my station. Again, here's my hoist operation here. I can operate the hoist from here, winching in, winching out and so on and so forth. There's the sea hover here whereby I can control a certain amount of lateral corrections, forward, left and right and backwards, control of the actual aircraft itself. It's a strap. This end goes onto the hook, the 2 D-rings there, and this would go on over the head of our casualty, in underneath the armpits, and then close it up and it's lifted. This is the stretcher that we use. It's designed in such a way, it's a floating stretcher. You see up around here we have the red pads, they're floats, and you have a weight down at the bottom. The ideal situation for a casualty for us, if they're in a stretcher already, is if they're on a spinal board, because we can lift the spinal board from their stretcher and place it inside this. It fits in perfectly.
Training is provided for the volunteers by the Irish Coast Guard's Voluntary Service and Training Division, which is responsible for the management of all coastal units, community inshore rescue service units and other search and rescue operations, mountain and cave rescues. After one of the busiest years on record for the Irish Coast Guard, the entire fleet of the Coast Guard was upgraded in January of this year following the launch of the 4th and final Sikorsky S-92 rescue helicopter by Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport, Leo Varadkar. The S-92 replaces the S-61, which was in use until recently at Coast Guard base stations at Dublin, Shannon, Sligo and Waterford. Last year, the Irish Coast Guard responded to over 2,500 incidents involving fishing craft, leisure vessels and mountaineers. A well-equipped and well-resourced Coast Guard can represent the difference between life and death for anyone in trouble at sea or on land.
Old Coast Guard van, this is Water Team, do you copy over?
Yeah, Declan, go ahead.
Yeah, Paul, any update from the chopper? We can't hear or see anything.
The new helicopters also allowed the Coast Guard to expand its role in providing emergency medical transfer for the HSE. Last year, the Coast Guard performed 253 aeromedical missions and 159 offshore island medical evacuations.
The whole unit has 28 members. We're a boat team, we're a search team, and we're a cliff rescue team. If the helicopter is working the incident and they're going to rescue somebody, well then obviously they would call the shots. If it was a cliff incident where we're going to go over the cliff, we would call the shots.
The S-92 and its well-trained crew, including state-registered paramedics, can now provide a first-class medical service in emergencies for medical transfers. Inter-hospital transfers and specialist medical teams can now be transported in this modern, reliable and safe aircraft, which, with its large multi-role cabin and rear access ramp, can accommodate stretchers, hospital trolleys, incubators, equipment and personnel. It can also transfer specialised ambulance response and mountain rescue teams to an incident anywhere in the country at very short notice. The area of operation in the Irish Economic Exclusion Zone will also expand to nearly 300 miles offshore, and using the S-92's satellite communications, long-range and discrete communication suite, this means that casualty information can be securely transmitted to the receiving hospital. The capability of the S-92 to be on scene to a maritime incident in any weather conditions in a very short period of time is largely enhanced due to the four main attributes of this aircraft: speed, range, de-icing and performance.